look at the three scriptures that we normally look at, beginning at Exodus chapter 31 on Shabbat morning. Exodus chapter 31. Exodus 31 from verses 12 to 18. Exodus 31 from verses 12 to 18. Let us begin as we study the word of the Most High on this, the holy Shabbat. The word says, "And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Yasha'al, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh, that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yasha'al shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of the Most High." Exodus chapter 31, verses 12 to 18. Now we turn to the book of the law. These be the words of Dabarim, otherwise known as Deuteronomy. And we're looking at the chapter, which I call the chapter of the awakening, chapter 30 of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30. And we'll be reading from verses 1 to 10, Deuteronomy chapter 30, awakening of the people of the Most High, verses 1 through 10. And the scripture says, "And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahweh thy Most High have driven thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Most High, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Most High will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy Most High have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Most High gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Most High will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it. And he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Most High will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Most High with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Most High will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Most High will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Most High, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Most High with all thy heart and with all thy soul." Praise the Most High Yah. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 10. Last but not least, Revelation, the revelation of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai. The revelation of the Messiah, Revelation chapter 11, therein contains the seventh trumpet. Revelation chapter 11, from verses 15 to verse 19. Revelation chapter 11, from verses 15 to 19. "And the seventh angel sounded, And there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Yahweh and of his Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Yahweh on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped Yahweh, saying, we give thee thanks, O Yahweh al Shaddai, which art and wast and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of Yahweh was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. That was Revelation, the seventh trumpet of Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 19. So we have been studying, praise the Most High. Thank you, Isha, for sharing those scriptures. We have been studying the prophecy of Ezekiel. We took a little detour last night to talk a little bit about Gog and Magog and white supremacy as it relates to the Bible and as it relates to last day events and prophecy. But today we're back on our path of studying the prophecy of Ezekiel. And we are really entering now, not that it wasn't interesting before, but we're really entering a very meaty and heavy area of Ezekiel. From this point, chapter 33 all the way to chapter 39 is very meaty, very heavy, very powerful, very, very prophetic. And we'll be dealing with this for the next couple of weeks by the Most High, next several weeks, going through this. And we're, again, as is our habit, we're going to try to take our time and go bit by bit, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and break it down by the grace of the Most High so that the Father's name would be uplifted. The Father's name would be honored. The Father's name would be glorified as we study the truth of his word and as we seek through the power of his spirit and grace to be obedient to his word. Praise the Most High Yah. So now we're looking at Ezekiel 33. And of course, I just want to go back, just as a normal thing, I want to go back for a minute before we go to Ezekiel 33. I want to go back for a minute and I want to look at Ezekiel, which we have already, this part we've already studied. I want to look at Ezekiel. Let's see. Ezekiel chapter 3. Yes. Ezekiel chapter 3. Let's go back for a second. Let's look at Ezekiel chapter 3. You've already studied this chapter. And it seems to actually almost be repeated in chapter 33, but we're gonna see there's a little bit different here in chapter 33, a very important difference. And so let's take a look at chapter 3, and let's go from chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm not going to read all of chapter 3, but I'm going to start at verse 1 and read down to verse 7. Ezekiel 3 from verse 1 to 7. Notice what it says. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll. Go speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it. And it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many people of a strange speech or of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent, and hard-hearted. Okay, so he said, I'm not sending you some people you don't know. I'm sending you to some people that you know. I'm sending you some people that you know and that know you. You know how they eat. You know how they are. You know their ways. You know their culture, and they know you. This is not a strange. He said, if I sent you to a bunch of strangers, they would have listened to you. He said, no, but the house of Israel is not going to listen to you. I'm sending you there. Well, what did he eat? What role was that? We need to really see that very closely with the role that he was told to eat. Because the role that he ate represented the words that was going to come out of his mouth. That's what that represented. So let's take a look at it in Ezekiel chapter 2. Ezekiel chapter 2. I'm going to read verse, let's see. I'm going to read verse 7 to verse 10. It's going to explain the role that he ate and what it meant. This is important for us. From verse 7 to 10. Notice what it says. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. For they are most rebellious. And thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth, and eat that I give thee. And when I looked, behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. And it was written therein, lamentations and mourning and woe. So the roll represented the message that the Most High Spirit was going to put in his prophet, for his prophet to deliver that message from that spirit to the people, to his people. Okay, y'all understand that? We went through this. This is actually part of the series, but it's important as we're getting ready to look at Ezekiel 33. It becomes very important, as you'll see. So he was telling Ezekiel, I'm sending you to the children of Israel. I'm sending you with a message. And brothers and sisters, this is very important for us to understand in that the messenger, the word messenger in Hebrew, it's two words. It's the word messenger and it's the word angel. See, the word angel is another word for a messenger. Why does the word angel also mean messenger? Because an angel from the Most High comes with a message from the Father. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you following me? The angel comes with a message. And then he gives that message to an earthly messenger. And I want to point this out to you all very plainly. The Most High will do nothing, the Bible says, but he revealeth his secret to his servants, the prophets. What does that mean? He's not going to do anything on this earth unless he brings it forth from the mouth of his servants, of his messengers. And let me tell you something. He only uses Hebrew messengers. I want to make sure y'all understand what I just said. He does not use heathen messages. He uses Hebrew messengers. So when you see a person stand up in this day and age and they're a heathen and they trying to act like they're a messenger of the Most High, listen, you already know the story. You already know the situation. Okay? There's only, when he get ready to do something, he going to bring forth a Hebrew messenger. That's the whole Bible shows you that. Okay? When he get ready to bring the drought to Israel, he brought a Hebrew messenger, Elijah. When he got ready to bring forth, to bring his people out of Egypt, he sent to the Egyptians a Hebrew messenger, Moses. Before Messiah came to the earth the first time, he warned the people with a Hebrew messenger, John the Baptist. Before he brought the message to the Gentiles, he brought that message with a Hebrew messenger, Paul. You see the pattern. Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me just make this very plain for you so you understand what's going on today, because we're going to show you this by the grace of the Most High. So now he getting ready to return the second time. A very powerful, an event that's the greatest event of all time, the return of Messiah with the Father, the greatest event of all time. So wait, before that event, he gonna send messengers. Who are these messengers? Well, one thing we do know, they're Hebrew. That's what we're gonna know. They're Hebrew messengers. And who are they? It's the 144,000. That's right, the 144,000. That's why it says very plainly, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes. 12. And see what's going on in Christianity on the earth. Everybody trying to debate who these Israelites are. Well, they're really spiritual Israel. They're Christians. They're spiritual Israel. That's a bunch of that bull dung that Ezekiel was told to eat. That's a bunch of the defiled bread. These are bloodline Israelite messengers. Circumcised in flesh and in heart. These are bloodline Israelite messengers. And they're going to give the last message to the earth. And here, a bloodline circumcised Israelite messenger was given this message. And he said, this role is warning, is what did he say? Is lamentation and mourning and woe. That's what he was given. Why? Because we know, looking back now, we know from that time, from both not only Ezekiel, not only Isaiah, not only Jeremiah, but also from Moses. Moses was the first one to tell us that the chosen people were going to go through what? Lamentations and mourning and woe. And why? Because we didn't listen to the message of the Father that he sent by his Hebrew messenger. Right? Testing 1, 2, 3. He said, I sent you prophets, rising early and sending them, and you would not hearken. He said, you would not hearken. Now we're not finished here. We're not finished in Ezekiel 3 yet. We're gonna come right back before we get to Ezekiel 33. But I want to bring you to one other place where the Bible talks about the messenger eating a roll. Now, we just saw that the scroll that was eaten here in Ezekiel was a scroll of lamentation, mourning, and woe. It was a message from the Father. He said, I'm getting ready to send my people through lamentation, mourning, and woe. They're going to go through it for a long time because they have not obeyed my voice. Okay. But in Revelation chapter 10, there's another scroll given to another messenger. Notice what it says. Revelation chapter 10. Let us begin. I'm going to begin at verse. I want to read this whole chapter. I'm just going to read it through from verse 1 to verse 11. And we're going to come back to Ezekiel 3. I'm not forgetting that. And of course, this is all leading up to Ezekiel 33. So let's start off Revelation chapter 10 from verses 1 to 11. I'm going to read the whole thing by the grace of the Most High. Notice what it says here. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot upon the earth, and cried with a loud voice as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of Yahweh should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again and said, go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book. And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. Let's look at this very quickly because we're going to go back to Ezekiel, but I want y'all to see what this means. Angel again is what? Messenger. Angel messenger, which means he's coming with a message from the Father, or some cases from Messiah. Okay, so here's this angel, but it's always ultimately coming from the Father. Even if it comes through Messiah, ultimately the message is coming from the Father. So here you have an angel bringing a message. The message is obviously in the little book. You see that? He's got a message. It's in this book. And he makes a declaration. And when he make a declaration, the Father spoke. Did you see that? 7 thunders uttered their voices. That is the Father's voice. Remember, the Father's voice sounds like thunder. So the Father said something. The Father said something which John heard. Yochanan heard it. And he was about to write it down, what he heard from the Father. And then someone said to him, don't write that down. Don't write down what you just heard. He said, in the days of the 7th angel, that is the 7th trumpet, which we just read a few minutes ago. He said, in the days of the 7th trumpet, that mystery is going to be finished. In other words, that's going to be revealed. What the Father just said is going to be revealed in the days of the 7th trumpet. Y'all follow me so far? Okay. So wait, we already know what is the mystery of the Father that has yet to be revealed, that even Messiah said only the Father knows. What's the mystery that the Father has yet to reveal to us that we're waiting for, that he said only the Father knows? That's right. He's the day and hour of the return of the Messiah is going to be revealed to us in the days of the 7th trumpet. We don't know it yet because we're still in the 6th one right now. We're still in the 6th one. But believe me, the 7th one is coming upon us very, very quickly. Like by AD 2027. Coming upon us very quickly in that last Jubilee. But he said we're going to know the day and hour. That mystery is going to be resolved. But in the meantime, he said, take the message. You see, that wasn't the message that he came. That wasn't the message he came to share. He said the message he came to share was when in that scroll that was in his hand. He said, take this scroll and eat it. Now, wait a minute. We just read in Ezekiel 3. Father gave Ezekiel a scroll. And Ezekiel ate the scroll. And the scroll had lamentations, mourning, and woe. And that scroll that he ate represented the message that he was going to portray to the people, to the Israelite people, right? So here he said, eat this scroll. And we're going to go into the bitter and sweet in a minute. But before that, after he ate the scroll, what he said? He said, thou must prophesy before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. In other words, the message was a message of prophecy. And just like Ezekiel, the message is going to the Israelite people. Why did he say peoples, nations, tongues, and kings? Why? Because the Israelite people are scattered all over the earth. Are you following me? Testing 1, 2, 3. The Israelite people are scattered all over the earth. Okay, so we're scattered among the heathen. So the heathen gonna hear it too. But the message is directed to the Israelite. Come out of her, my people. So a message of prophecy is given to the last day people. And we know that messengers are the 144,000. Why was it sweet in their mouth like it was Ezekiel? Because it's the truth, right? The Bible said the truth is sweet. Testing 1, 2, 3. The Bible said the truth is sweet. Right? You catching me? The truth is sweet. But why was it bitter in the belly? Because of the response. The response of the people of the earth is not going to be positive to this message. Just like he told Ezekiel, I'm making your forehead strong against theirs. They're going to come against you. But I'm going to make your forehead as adamant stone against theirs. Right? I'm going to make you just as stubborn, just as strong, just as powerful as they come at you. You're going to come back at them because they're your people. Well, here it makes the belly bitter because after we give that sweetness, we're going to give that message and it's going to be bitter because people, imagine all news agencies, all famous people, all the people that the people of this world listen to going to be saying to everybody, those people are cultists. Those people are perverters. Those people are crazy. Those people are deluded. Don't listen to them. That's what's going to come. And by what I'm telling you right now doesn't even begin to really show you the import of what's going to happen, because what's going to happen, you see, brothers and sisters, as this message came from the angel into John, It's the same with Ezekiel. When the Most High gives a messenger the message, he doesn't just give the messenger the knowledge of the message. He attends the message with the power of his spirit. That's what makes it special. You see, what makes the message special is the power of the Father's Spirit attending it. And what happens is when the Father attends a message with his spirit, people can laugh or they could joke, and they will. They're going to laugh and joke, just like they said about the apostles. They said, oh, these men drunk. I mean, these guys drunk. Why? Because they were scared. Because they heard the power. When them brothers came on the porch of Solomon and brought that message, they heard that power. And they was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it arrested their attention. And they knew something important was being said. They may not have liked it, but they knew it was important. And that, brothers and sisters, is what the Father's Spirit does when he sends his messengers. You see, they can't just ignore it because it's going to cut them in their heart. He said, my word is like a hammer. That's what he said. He said, my word is like a hammer. He said, I bring it. You hear what I'm saying? So when he gives his messengers this message and they bring it, they're not going to be, it's going to be just like the apostles. The Bible said, who are these guys? These unlearned and ignorant men. That's what they said. Who are these unlearned and ignorant men? Why? Because we're not famous. We don't have 1 million YouTube followers. No, we're not on TV and giving worldwide messages in stadiums. No, we're not on prime time television. No, we're not on NBC, MSNBC, Fox News. No. But yet this message is going to be so powerful that it's going to arrest the attention of the whole earth, and that's what it's meant to do. Okay? So he said, you're going to prophecy. So the idea is, the object is, this role is a role of prophecy. That's why we say that little book represents the book of Daniel. Because if you recall, the book of Daniel was sealed until the time of the end. Well, here we are. We're in the time of the end. We're in the time of the end. Here we are. This is where we live. So now let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 3. So now you know, brother was given a message. And it was not a nice message, but it was a true message. And now I want to show you back to Ezekiel 3. Now let's go down to verse 17. Let's go from verse 17. And I'm going to read from verse 17 down to verse 21. Ezekiel chapter 3 from 17 to 21. Notice what it says. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, that same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn from his wickedness, nor he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Again, when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man that the righteous sin not, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also, thou hast delivered thy soul. This is showing you, brothers and sisters, the most important position on the planet Earth today, really, in the eyes of the heaven, in the eyes of the Father, in the eyes of the Messiah, and all the heavenly hosts of angels. The most important position on this earth today is the position of a messenger of the Father. A position of a person that is a messenger from the Father. Testing 1, 2, 3. I want to make sure you're catching that, because it's more powerful than any president, more powerful than any senator, more powerful than any prime minister, any king. is the messenger that has the message of the Father. And just as Messiah, listen carefully now, Messiah did not come and reveal himself to the nation of Israel with chariots of horses. He did not come with swords drawn. He did not come with shields of gold and crowns. No, he came dusty. He came road weary. He came poor from Nazareth. He came a lower class. Okay? But he was the Father's messenger. But he is the incarnate divine nature of the Father's Spirit. That's what he was. That's what he was when he came to this earth. That's what he still is. Just so. The 144,000 are not going to come with money. See, all these, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Listen carefully. When they asking you for money, back up quick. That's not one of the messengers. The messengers value the Father's Spirit above all things, because it is the Father's Spirit that lights them up. Ain't no money lights them up. Money lights up those that are concerned with the things money of this world could buy and the power money of this world could give. That's the concern with money. Okay? But when you're above that, you're above carnal. And the Spirit is much more. Brothers and sisters, it's really, I have to ask for forgiveness. Because really, brothers and sisters, it's not even right. It's not even proper to compare the Father's Spirit with earthly Federal Reserve notes. It's just disgustingly ridiculous. Really it is. I'm just trying to tell you. So people out here just begging you for money and looking to reach in your pocket for their organization, their so-called ministry, their so-called camp, you need to walk the other way. I'm trying to tell you right now. It's a test. It's a test. It's a test. Do you know how many poor people there are out here that's living on Social Security and don't even know where their next month's food is coming from? Huh? You know how many people out here that single mothers, Hebrew people, and Caucasian? The man is gone, or he's dead, or he's in jail, or he's on drugs, and they got kids to feed. And these so-called ministers out here asking you for that hard-earned dollar. That's the dollar you got to go buy that loaf of bread with. Talking about the Lord gonna provide for you. If you give me the 10th, he gonna bless the 9/10. That's what you call a con man. And there was a Caucasian man once that he said this. He was a con man. He knew he was a con man. And he said, there's a sucker born every minute. And let me tell you something. That's what these shepherds believe. There's a sucker born every minute. They believe that. And they just taking you for your money. Don't give your money to these organizations, these camps. If you got money to give to somebody, you could either you poor or you know somebody that's poor. Listen, somebody once asked a question. Several people, they asked a question. I saw the people, do you know anybody with cancer? And everybody raised their hand because so many people got cancer that it's so widespread. They say 1 in 4 people in the United States get cancer. 1 in 4. So that everybody knows somebody. If you're not related to somebody, you know somebody that had gotten cancer. Well, I want to ask you this question. This is even more important. Do you know anybody that's poor? Do you know anybody that's poor? And I bet you all of y'all gonna raise your hand. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know somebody that's poor. Well, then look at this now. If you got some money to give to someplace, and what you should do with it? You know somebody that's poor? I mean, poor means this. Poor means, you really don't, you're not sure exactly how you're going to make ends meet. That poor means that if you get laid off, you may not have a place to live within a month or two. Poor means, you know what? The electric bill, the phone bill, the gas bill is coming, and you got to make a decision between how much food to get and how much it is to pay. And you got to try to make arrangements to pay because you can't pay it. That's poor right there. Testing 1, 2, 3. That's poor right there. Okay, that's poor right there. Okay, that's what that is. And most of us know exactly what that's about. Most of us know exactly what it's about. See? So these fools out here, they're not worried about the Father's Spirit, nor are they concerned with the message that comes from the Father. But yet they're going to prop themselves up as the Father's messengers. That's the most important position in the earth today. That's why I don't take this situation very lightly at all. I cannot take it lightly because my own soul is on the line. And that's what I'm saying to you. I got to speak the truth. Yes, it's going to be bitter. I'm going to catch backlash, but I can't worry about that. My concern is with the Father. My concern is when Messiah says, well done, good and faithful servant. That's my only concern on this planet. Whether I live, whether I die, it doesn't even matter. What does matter is that I give the Father the honor, the glory, and the praise, and everything that comes from this microphone, everything come out of my mouth, every action I do. That's what I want. Praise the Most High Yah. Those interested in the same thing, the Spirit will bear witness and draw them to the same thing. I'm not concerned with those that are not interested. Really, I'm not. But I know there's going to be backlash. So you can see here, he sent Ezekiel to the Israelite nation as a messenger. The message came from the Father. The message was hard. The message was tough. But he was to give that message because the message was designed to cause the wicked to turn from his wicked way, to save his life. That's what the message was designed for. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, the Father's message is always designed with that in mind. All he's trying to do is save people's lives. That's what he's trying to do. Remember what the Messiah said. My wife and I were discussing this morning. Remember what the Messiah said. He said, unless the days were shortened. Right? Remember that? He said, unless the days were shortened, there should no flesh be saved. Why did he say that? What does that mean? Brothers and sisters, if left to himself, Gog and Magog would have destroyed the earth and everybody in it a long time ago. Because selfishness, self-centered narcissism, and godlessness, running away from the Creator, can only end in death. That's the only way it ends, brothers and sisters. There is no other ending for that. Rebellion against the Creator, rebellion against his perfect law of righteousness only ends in one way. It ends in eternal destruction. That's the only way it ends. Okay? And so if left to himself, these heathen would have destroyed themselves and this earth a long time ago. And when the Bible talks about in Revelation, when it said that it's talking about the United States, when it said he has power to bring fire from heaven. And it said he deceived the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. What is he talking about? Brothers and sisters, that's these atomic bombs. Let me tell you something. Japan had the gall to drop bombs on U.S. territory. What happened to Japan? 2 atomic bombs, wiping out 2 whole cities, hundreds of thousands of people destroyed. And you know what? These atomic weapons are known to be able to not only wipe out cities, to wipe out whole regions of people. So the earth now knows if you mess with the United States, if you get them crazy heathen riled up, they will blow you up. And if you get them too close, they'll blow themselves up with you. They know that. That's why they won't mess with us. That's why I was telling my wife this morning. They trying to talk to that boy from North Korea, trying to talk to him. Say, listen, man, listen, don't mess with them. Don't mess with them heathen over there, because they will blow your little country off the map. If you try to threaten them, they'll do it. Don't mess with them. That's what I'm trying to tell him. See, but the Most High has this whole thing under his control, which is why he says he hold back the winds until his servants are sealed, and they will bring forth his message to the earth. It's him that's in control of everything. The Bible says he sit on the circuit of the earth. He does it. But if left to themselves, that's why Messiah said, if he didn't shorten the days, no flesh would be saved, because the heathen destroy everybody off the earth. They would have did it. The devil will cause them to do it, because that's where unrighteousness, that's where rebellion against the Father, that's where sin leads. It leads to death. And it's not a joke when it said the wages of sin is death. That's where it leads. There's only one way that rebellion against the Father's law goes. There's only one way it goes. There's no 2 ways. It goes one way. Death. Non-existence. That's the only way it goes. Okay? And so Messiah is raising up the 144,000 to bring forth a final message of perfect righteousness from the Father, of prophecy, prophetic utterance, letting the earth know what is getting ready to happen and why it's getting ready to happen, which is the Revelation 18 message. and then going to bring this whole thing to a close and start the kingdom of righteousness led by Messiah and David. Praise the Most High Yah. That he said he's going to raise David up. Praise the Most High. Now we ready for Ezekiel chapter 33. Let's look at Ezekiel chapter 33, because now we ready. Now we know we got the watchman, right? Now we have a message, but the message of Ezekiel 33 is different than the message of Ezekiel 3, in the sense that the focus is different. Both messages are designed to cause people's lives to be saved. Both messages are going to the house of Israel. Both messages are caused by a messenger who is responsible to give that message. Okay? But Ezekiel 33, as you're going to see, is a little bit different. Let's start off Ezekiel chapter 33. Ezekiel 33, I'm going to begin at verse 1. And it's going to sound very familiar to start off. Let's start at verse 1 and go down to verse 7. Ezekiel 33, verses 1 to 7. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coasts, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me. A sword coming through the land. A warning about a sword coming. A watchman being set to warn the people that a sword is coming. The sword of the Most High. He has said in another place, we read it, it is furbished, it's coming. So he brought, in fact, we looked at it. Remember we looked at that? I think it was, where was that? We saw that. And he said, I sent Nebuchadnezzar my servant. I think that was just a couple of chapters ago. He said, I sent Nebuchadnezzar my servant with the sword to come through the land. Remember that? And Nebuchadnezzar did come. This time, and remember what we said at the time? If Babylon is mentioned, and Nebuchadnezzar is not mentioned, generally it's Babylon as associated with the devil, right? But we also said that if Babylon is mentioned and is mentioned with Nebuchadnezzar at its head, it's a representation of Messiah coming. Remember that? It's a representation of Messiah coming. I think it was Ezekiel 26. It was Ezekiel 26. He said, I'm sending my servant Nebuchadnezzar. So here we are, Ezekiel 33. He said a sword coming. He told them, sword coming. Well, now we know Ezekiel is talking about Nebuchadnezzar at that time. But in our time, with the 144,000 and a sword coming, what does that represent? Well, it's representing the return of Messiah. People will say, well, why is the return of Messiah a sword? You see, Christianity has painted up this white Jesus with this return of a very flowery, almost effeminate Messiah that just loves everybody and just going to save everybody. And that's a lie. That's a lie. Okay? That is them cow chips that Ezekiel was eating. That's a lie. That's defiled bread. The Bible actually says, when he comes, all the tribes of the earth shall wail because of him. When he comes, the heathen gonna be running, saying to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? That's really what's going to happen. Okay, that's real. For the heathen, it's the worst day ever. And I mean that literally. For the heathen, it's the worst day ever. Now, I have to admit, I'm going to be honest and admit, the Bible says you should confess your faults one to another. Confess your faults. Different from confessing sin, but that's another story. I'm going to confess a fault. I like to watch some sporting events. And I say that's a fault because sports, that's not the most high compete, like that's not him. But I do like to watch sports from time to time. Particular sports, particular teams, but I do. And I do see, I will tell you this, there are object lessons in some of the sports. There's object lessons, and I often note the object lessons, and I'm not saying I simply watch it for the object lessons, but I do see object lessons. And in sports, there are teams, right? There are teams. In team sports, there are teams. And there are people that root for those teams to win. They're called fans, short for fanatics. Like, I have to consider myself one of them if I'm following a team. But there are teams that root for their people that root for their team to win, right? So I'm from New York, and if I'm watching the New York Mets, I'm rooting for the New York Mets to win because that's a New York team, right? Now, there are two types of people that want their teams to win. There are people that only root for the teams that they know are going to win. Like, in other words, they're called what we call in sports, they call them bandwagon fans. Bandwagon fans. Because they see the team that looks like the favorite. They just have the best players. They have the best coach. They have the best organization. And people will root for that team because it's the best team and has the best chance to win. And so they're bandwagon. So when that team turns bad, and that inevitably happens, no team stays good forever. When that team turns bad, those fans leave that team. They don't follow it anymore. They don't care about it anymore because it's not good anymore. That's a bandwagon fan. And then there's those people that are fans of a team that will stay fans of the team, whether it's good or whether it's bad, because they're hoping that one day, even though it's bad now, one day it will be good. Okay? Testing 1, 2, 3. You follow me? I'm going somewhere with this. Believe me. So you hear me? So you have the fair weather fan that's only with the team if they think it's going to win. And then there's the fan that's going to be there with the team, whether they win or losing, because they're hoping that even if they're bad, that one day they're going to turn it around and be good. So the bandwagon fan is Judas. Judas was with the Messiah because he was looking for the Messiah to take the kingdom right there. And he figured, listen, if I'm with him, if I'm on the inside now, and he takes the kingdom, I'm going to be one of the leaders of the kingdom. So let me get in this thing now. But then when he saw Messiah wasn't taking the kingdom the way he wanted to, when he said, and the Messiah kept talking about allowing himself to be killed by the Gentiles, he betrayed Messiah because he's thinking Messiah going to be a loser. Okay. That's like the fair weather fan. He's only there while he thinks the team's going to be good. If the team's not good, he's not with it anymore. Now, that also will play a role in these last days because the winning team is going to appear like it's going to lose. And the losing team is going to look powerful, like they cannot lose, like it's impossible, like Goliath versus David. See, if you saw Goliath versus David, here comes this 17, 18-year-old boy out against a grown man, number one. And a grown man, here come this pretty boy against a grown, hardened man that's 9 feet tall. 9 feet tall. Like, you got no shot. I mean, this guy's going to get eaten for lunch, and it's not, he gonna eat this boy, spit him out, toss him to the side, and look for more. But what happened? The Most High blessed the stone that was in the sling that David threw at that giant. And the stone had so much velocity, it sunk in his forehead. Because the Most High's power was behind it. And that's what David told him. He said, I come to you. He said, you come to me with your heathen gods and your sword. I come to you in the name of Yahweh of hosts. That's what he said. And I'm going to kill you and cut off your head. And that's what he did. And it's going to look bad for us. We don't have any money. We don't have any private jets, television stations. We don't have any tanks, surface-to-air missiles, naval ships, super tankers. We don't own any of that. We don't have any planes. We don't own that. What do you call them things? Drone. We don't own any drones that could drop bombs and have radio materials that can tell you where you're at by your breath. We don't have no submarines. We don't own any of that. We don't own any satellites. But the heathen gonna have all of that. They're gonna have the guns, missiles, submarines, ships, satellites. They're gonna have armies. They're gonna have all of that. Tanks, drones. They're going to have everything. Plus the television to give the message. Plus the television to give the message. Plus the media. They're going to have that too. To give the message that they want everybody to hear. They're going to have everything for them. We're not going to have anything but the clothes on our back and the Father's Spirit. Let me tell you right now. We're going to win. It's not going to look like we're going to win, but we're going to win. And let me tell you what. All the people that are fair weather fans, and that's what I'm saying to you. At first, you're going to have people who are with us. You're going to think, man, this looks like more than what the Bible says is going to come. This is big number of people with us. At first, until it gets thick. When it start getting thick, they're going to switch sides. Because they're going to say, oh, wait, y'all not going to win. I'm sorry. I know you believe in this message, but nah, man, you can't beat Rome's army. And you can't beat the Babylonians. Are you crazy? No. No, it's not going to work, man. Give it up now. Give it up. They just telling you, give it up. Give it up. That's the way it's going to be. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to win. Just like David beat Goliath. Just like Gideon had 300 men and beat hundreds of thousands of army, we're going to win. Because the Most High will fight for us. One time, I was just reading how one time the Israelites were whining about, before they started whining about getting a king, Samuel was the prophet, was the priest and the prophet in Israel. And after the ark came back, the Philistines had captured the ark when they killed Ali and they killed his two sons, Hophni and Phinehas. The ark came back, and then Samuel had the people come to Mizpah and they repented of their sin. And while they did that, and they put away Ashtoreth and they put away Baal, which today is the equivalent of Christianity and Judaism and Islam. They put all that away. And they were following Yahweh, the Most High, that brought their fathers out of Egypt. And at that time, the Philistines tried to attack them. And the Bible says that the Most High rained thunder and hail on the heathen. Ain't nobody had to lift up a sword and chase them out of the land of Israel. See, we understand by the Father's power and by his Spirit. We understand because why? Because on a personal level. See, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying to you is you have to taste the Father is good for yourself. That's why Messiah said you got to eat his flesh and drink his blood. You got to understand for yourself what trust in the Father is like. You got to understand for yourself what it is to be sealed with his Spirit. You got to understand for yourself what it is to overcome sin. You got to understand that for yourself. Because then if you understand for yourself, nobody got to convince you. You understand for yourself, you come together with a group of people that also understand for themselves. And the Spirit bears witness with the Spirit, and iron sharpening iron. And y'all know. You understand? Y'all know. Y'all don't got to be convinced because you know for yourself. That's why he put us through stuff. So that we can overcome stuff. So that we have that experience. We'll be experienced soldiers with the Most High Yah. Praise the Most High. Aka. Praise the Most High. So let's continue. Ezekiel chapter 33 from verse 8 down to verse 12. Ezekiel 33 from 8 to 12. When I say to the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Therefore, O thou son of man, speak to the house of Israel. Thus ye speak, saying, if our transgressions and our sins be upon us, and we pine away in them, how should we then live? And say unto them, as I live, saith the Most High Yahweh, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil ways. For why will ye die, O house of Israel? Therefore, thou son of man, say unto the children of thy people, the righteousness of the righteous shall not deliver him in the day of his transgression. As for the wickedness of the wicked, he shall not fall thereby in the day that he turneth from his wickedness. Neither shall the righteous be able to live for his righteousness in the day that he sinneth. And some people, see, this is where the Christians confuse y'all. I heard a Christian pastor, he told me this to my face. You telling me, he said, you telling me, because he believed in this once saved, always saved foolish doctrine. And he said, you telling me that if a young man goes to church every Sunday and he gives his life to Jesus and he receives Christ and then he goes out and gets drunk and dies in a car crash, he's going to be lost? That's not right. That's not right. See, that's what the heathen say. That's what the heathen say. You understand? What did the word say? What the word say? He said, all his righteousness that he done, that's not going to be mentioned. In the day he sinned, he going to die. So somebody might say, wow, man, that sounds pretty slippery. You can lose your salvation any minute. That's how the heathen teach. Let me show you what let me tell you what the scriptures say. You see, brothers and sisters, it says this. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling. That's what the scriptures say. It said, now unto him that is able to keep you from falling. That means the Father's righteousness is such that you can't just slip out the Father's hand. Messiah said, thou hast put him in my hand and no man taking him out of my hand. Thou put him in the Father's hand and no man taking him out the Father's hand. That's right. If you want the Father, he's going to keep you. You can't just lose his righteousness like soap slipping out your hand. That's not how it works. See, you go through a process to end up belonging with the Father. He put you through some trials. He put you through some things that you have a personal experience with him. See, the Christians call it a personal relationship. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about you got an experience with him. Like you've been on the ship when it was about to sink and he kept it up. You've been where you was on the precipice of a black abyss and he stopped you from falling in. You've been there. So when it appears to come back to you, you're not worried about it. Not really, because you know you have the experience of him delivering you. You're not going to just easily turn from that. After you invested that type of time and he put that type of spirit on you, you're not going to easily turn from that. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. But if you should decide, because it is your free choice, to leave his righteousness and go from it, because after all, Satan did it. Satan was the anointed cherub, right? He was the anointed cherub and he left. So you have the power. You can do it, but it's not an easy thing. It's an internal struggle, brothers and sisters. It's an internal struggle. And this is the thing. We go through internal struggles to come to the Father. You know, when we repent of our sins, Tell me the truth now. Don't y'all have to struggle with things? He brings it to your mind. He brings it to you and you're struggling with it. And you know you're being tormented by the devil. You know he's tormenting you. And you're tired of the torment. And you got to go through an internal struggle of surrendering to the Father and continuing to get on your knees and go to the Father. And he gives you the victory. And you rejoice. He gives you the victory and you rejoice. You're not going to want to go through that again now. You're not going to go back to the vomit. Not so easily. Not so easily. Not so easily. So that's why he said, when you come out of sin, your past sin, and you put on the robe of righteousness, your past sin is not mentioned anymore. It's not even in the books anymore. It's gone. But when you say you walking in righteousness and you turn from perfect righteousness to go into sin, your righteousness don't count no more. You done now. You are a traitor. Like, should they have said Benedict Arnold spent the first 30 years of his life being a faithful citizen in the United States? So when he traded on the United States for Britain, should we forgive him? Judas was faithful all his life. He was faithful with the Messiah for 3.5 years. He just made this one mistake at the end in betraying the Messiah, the sons of the Father. Should we just forgive him for that? No. The day you turn, you join forces with the enemy, you no longer with the Father. Period. You're not with him no more. And you know how you know you're not with him? Here's a sign. You won't even feel like repenting. You won't even feel like it. It won't even be in your mind to repent. You won't care. This is the age in which we live. We live in an age where people will commit sin and then be unapologetic. That's right. That's what it's about. We live in an age where people will commit sin and know they commit. I mean, they know they're doing wrong and will be unapologetic and in fact be bold about it. It used to be brothers and sisters. It used to be when a man liked to when he had a habit of sodomizing another man or allowing himself to be sodomized. He kept that mess quiet. He kept that mess in the closet. If that's what you like to do, he kept that in the closet. And people in his family would know, yeah, he's a little funny. Don't let the kids stay with him now. Don't leave the little ones with him. Who you say you left the little ones with who? What's wrong with you? Don't leave them with him. What, you crazy? Right? Brothers and sisters, no, right? I'm telling the truth, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. They used to say, oh, he got a little sugar in him. Right? They used to say, right? Back in the day, y'all know what I'm talking about. Say, oh, you got a little sugar in him. What they know? Because he liked to be sodomized or he liked to sodomize somebody else. Right? Nowadays, they got these Negroes wearing dresses and carrying and putting on pumps and wearing tight pants and carrying bags and even wearing bras and doing all kind of operations. Now it's open and it's unapologetic. Matter of fact, you speak against it, something wrong with you. Right? This is just a sample. But I'm just sampling. But I'm trying to tell you, this earth, that whole spirit is the same. It's the same. That whole spirit is the same. That's the spirit we're under right now. It's unapologetic, it's narcissistic, it's self-serving, and it's in rebellion against the Father. That's the spirit of the people. That's where we at right now. And so you ain't got to worry. If you are repentant, if you want the Father's righteousness and you admit you are a sinner, you ain't got to worry. He's going to not only cover you with the blood of Messiah and cover you in his robe of righteousness, he's going to continue to forgive you, and he's going to bring you in this real progression toward perfect righteousness. He's going to bring you and have you grow up into that coat till you don't want to sin anymore. You don't want anything to do with it, and he's going to have you overcome it all. He's going to have you do it. Praise the Most High Yah. We're going to take a break right now and come back and continue in Ezekiel 33. Now that we're in it, we're going to stop right here in where we started. We stop right here in I think we stopped at verse 12. We're going to stop right there and then come back. Praise the Most High Yah.